Hi folks, my perspective. If I ask you the question, what would your reply be? Is it possible for two aeroplanes to fly around a spinning ball in any direction at any speed? And if the ball is spinning at 1,500 kilometers an hour, is it possible for the people in those aeroplanes, for them not to see the ball move underneath them? Even if you say, well, the ball and the air and the clouds is moving with the ball, it simply means that the people in the aeroplane would see the clouds moving underneath them. Can the plane always move in the same direction as the spin of the earth at any speed? You have to think about this. Now, what do we know? We know that a plane flying from north to south, or east to west, or vice versa, will travel at the same speed and travel the same distance, and generally speaking, use the same amount of fuel. This simple fact tells us the earth is not spinning, that the earth is motionless. Right? Doesn't matter where you fly, the same distance, you travel the same speed if you travel that distance in the same amount of time. So you might say, well, it's because the air is attached to the earth. That makes a difference. Well, let's have a look at that. If I have two airplanes, they both take off at the same time, they're flying in a circle, right? They're flying around the circle once. They'll travel at the same speed. And they'll travel the same distance. Now, if I attach these planes to the outer ring, and I rotate that ring once, the planes fly around that ring once, what will happen? Let's watch. So the planes take off at the same time. The plane flying in the direction of the spin will have to fly faster and further, and the plane flying against the direction will have to travel slower and travel less distance to take off and land at the same time. So you might say, well, if we put clouds around these planes, it'll change it. Well, it changes nothing. You're just attaching clouds to the ring. How does that change the distance? So what do we see? Well, if we have a man, right, from his perspective, right, he's moving in an easterly direction. We've attached clouds to these two planes, right? Well, the plane flying easterly will have to fly further and faster, and the plane flying westerly will have to travel slower and a shorter distance. And we've attached the clouds to the motion. It changes nothing. The point is that the airplane flying east has to travel faster and travel a further distance, therefore will use more fuel. It's as simple as that. Whether the clouds move with him or don't, it doesn't alter that fact. Now the point is, from this man's perspective, an aeroplane flying east will always fly faster. If he's at an airport, because it has to travel a further distance, because the earth is spinning easterly, if he's flying easterly, the plane would have to travel a longer distance. He would actually see that motion. All airplanes flying easterly will travel faster. Yet both planes are traveling at the same distance and speed from each other. So think about the implication of this. Right, so we don't see this. From this simple fact, we know the earth is not spinning. The earth is motionless. We've just simply been indoctrinated into a belief system that is not real, it is not accurate. Everyday things around us tells us the earth is motionless. What is happening is that the clouds are moving, the sun is moving, the stars are moving, the moon is moving. We are standing still. Consider an aeroplane landing in an easterly direction, right? If that plane slows down, well, from your perspective, it would seem if the aeroplane is flying backwards. That aeroplane on landing in an easterly direction will always have to keep up to pace with the runway. And when it stops, it'll have to match the motion easterly for it to be a perfect landing. And if we attach the clouds to the aeroplane or to the ground, it changes nothing. It's just smoke and mirrors. The plane flying easterly will have to match the motion. Now, a plane landing in a westerly direction, as soon as he comes to a dead stop, what will happen? Immediately his motion will be pushed backwards in the opposite direction at 1,600 kilometers an hour. Everybody in that plane will have severe whiplash. They will die. As simple as that. So, an aeroplane flying north, right, or south, as he changes direction, westerly, they will have you believe that the speed of this aeroplane now just alters to match the Earth's spin. Means every time the plane changes direction, his speed will alter to automatically match the Earth. Well, this is just simply crazy. This is impossible. Think about an aeroplane that's coming into land. As the plane changes and alters its direction, it now has to match the Earth's spin so that this aeroplane can land and change its speed constantly to match the speed of the runway. This is magic. This is sorcery. This is not real. If we just simply think about this simple task of an aeroplane landing on a moving runway, the plane would have to be sliding easterly no matter which direction it comes in, and continue moving easterly at the same time moving in another direction. And yet this is what people believe. You see, this is not real. This is impossible. And aeroplanes do not have this problem, and so the Earth is not spinning. Look, let's take this example. An aeroplane is spinning with the Earth, right? At the same time, moving around the sun at over 100,000 kilometers an hour. So this aeroplane will travel with the Earth's spin, and at the same time the Earth is traveling around the sun, and yet the forces on this aeroplane don't change. You see, we know that there's an equal and opposite reaction for every action. Well, where's the equal and opposite action for this? There is none. So no matter how far the aeroplane travels or how far it spins around the Earth, whether it's in the north or the equator, experiences no change in its motion. Well, this is impossible. This is a fairy story, not real. It calls into question the education system. You see, are we being educated or are we being indoctrinated? This tells us that we're being indoctrinated. We are not being educated. We are not being taught the truth. Let's use a simple example of an ice skater. So an ice skater can travel anywhere, whether in the center of this ice rink or on the outside, travel at the same speed, because the ice rink isn't spinning. She'll lose the same amount of power, be in control, keep her balance, no matter where she skates, on the outside or on the inside. Her speed is constant, depending on how much force she exerts on her body. Now, if we put a spin to that ice rink, well, this all changes. The dynamics of the motion changes. Now, we add an arc motion, a big circle. We spin that spinning ice rink in a big circle, and now that ice skater will have to deal with this motion. The same with an aeroplane. The fact that the skater doesn't experience these things, we know the ice rink is standing still. And the logic tells us, well, if we replace the ice rink with the Earth and the skater with an aeroplane, the Earth's not spinning. So our world view is being manipulated. Our world view is just another Hollywood movie. It's part of the media, it's part of the education system. It's a fake reality. Our minds are being blinded to the real world that we live in. The real world isn't spinning, it's fixed. So you might ask why? What is going on? Well, this is the sun god Shamash, worshipped in Babylon, right? In their culture, he was the center of the universe. This is Helios, the Greek god, and the Roman equivalent of Apollo. He was the center of their worship. And it's the same smoke and mirrors. You see, the sun is still in the center, and it's just a religious system that's masked itself as science. That's all it is. We're living in a religious system that has now painted its religion and put a mask on as the truth, as science. If we look at the fathers of this religious system, the education system, they are fathers of a priesthood. They all delved in divination. They all believed in sorcery. Have a look at what these people believed and how much ritual actually took place in their so-called learning. And you might be surprised to see that Greek philosophy is what we believe today. It's philosophy, it's religion. So what's the difference between this skull cap and a rounded skull cap a kufi used in worship. It's nothing, none. They're the same thing. And so what is palmed off as truth is in fact religious dogma. We need to open our eyes and look and think. You see, what we have is a religious system masked as science. Jehovah, our God, gave us a conscience and given us His word, the Bible, to direct us. And this is just being supplanted with science. So we still have a choice. Do we blindly go along with a system that we know is corrupt and is blinding people's minds and misleading us? We have a choice. You have a choice. And this system is coming to an end. Thanks for watching.